People have been buzzing about what's going down with XRP on May 19th, and it's clear there's more than one thing happening on that date, so let's dig into all the details. Brad Garlinghouse just dropped some major news that the entire XRP community has been decoding. The big headline: CME Group is launching XRP futures starting May 19th. Let's unpack what this means. CME, the world's top futures exchange, just announced XRP futures contracts, both standard and micro versions. Futures, by the way, are financial contracts that let you buy or sell an asset at a set price in the future without actually owning it. This move puts XRP alongside giants like Bitcoin and Ethereum on Wall Street. Here's why that matters. Futures contracts allow people to trade XRP's price changes without holding the cryptocurrency itself. Settlement is done in cash, not crypto, which makes it easier and safer for institutional investors like hedge funds and asset managers to get involved. They can now trade XRP through their regular brokerage accounts without needing a crypto wallet or worrying about custody risks. Basically, the barrier to entry for big investors is gone. Another important point is the regulatory angle. Since CME is regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission (CFTC) and not the SEC, XRP is being officially recognized as a commodity, not a security. This clarity could be a huge win for XRP after years of legal battles. From a market perspective, futures bring more liquidity, which tends to stabilize prices and attract a wider range of traders, from small players to big institutions. This means we can expect XRP's price swings to become less wild over time. Will CME futures cause XRP's price to shoot up? In the short term, expect some volatility, but if institutional interest grows like it did with Bitcoin, XRP's price floor could rise significantly. For context, when Bitcoin spot ETFs launched, over $120 billion flowed into those contracts. Although spot trading remains more popular than futures, the growing use cases for XRP, like DeFi and other projects building on the XRP ledger, could boost its value down the line. On May 19th, the micro futures contracts also kick off, which are designed to be more affordable for smaller investors. Each contract covers 2,500 XRP, making futures trading accessible to a broader audience. This is a big step toward democratizing access and leveling the playing field. Meanwhile, Ripple isn't just sitting still. They're actively expanding their ecosystem, launching things like the RLEUSD stablecoin and acquiring Hidden Road to prepare for mass adoption. And don't forget, there are still regulatory approvals in progress that could impact the future. In short, May 19th marks a key milestone for XRP, with multiple developments that could reshape its market and legal landscape, paving the way for greater participation and stability. Keep an eye out if you start seeing more obstacles cleared and XRP getting the official nod. That's a huge green light for both Ripple and XRP's future growth and wider adoption over the coming years. Remember, futures markets can sometimes be influenced by big players or whales, so XRP's real value still hinges on how much the XRP ledger is actually used, not just the buzz from trading excitement. So play it smart and don't get caught up in hype. Now here's something interesting. In just 10 days, some believe XRP will experience a massive surge. I'm going to share my thoughts after showing you a few clips. Many don't realize that in only 11 days, XRP could go parabolic, because on May 19th, CME is launching XRP futures. This event will open the floodgates for financial institutions to pour hundreds of millions of dollars into XRP and its broader ecosystem. Analysts are predicting XRP might jump to $10 thanks to this. But there's more to the story. On July 14th, ISO 20022 will officially launch. This new standard is the language banks must use to handle cross-border payments, and XRP's strength lies in offering a cheaper, faster and more secure alternative to the current SWIFT system. Because of this, I personally believe XRP could hit $35. And if Ripple manages to replace the entire SWIFT system, which handles around $1.2 quadrillion in transactions yearly, I'm convinced XRP could reach as high as $10,000 per coin. That's a lot to take in, right? Now here's some extra info about May 19th. You'll see a variety of XRP trading pairs coming into play, including currencies like the Australian dollar and Brazilian real, among others. This means many people will be closely watching these developments. We've already talked about CME Group and their role on May 19th, but here's more perspective on how huge this date could be. For those who might not know, CME Group is the largest financial exchange worldwide. They handle trillions of dollars in daily trading volume. This is the place where top investors bet on everything from interest rates to oil, gold, and even cryptocurrencies. On May 19th, CME is adding something fresh to their lineup, XRP futures. This is the very same exchange that introduced Bitcoin futures back in 2017, and now they're opening the doors for XRP. Think about that for a second. This is how big institutional money flows quietly and legally. XRP has never truly had its moment to shine when it comes to price discovery because it's been held back for years by lawsuits, negative media, and uncertainty. While Bitcoin and Ethereum ran free, XRP was stuck in legal limbo, but that's changing now. Ripple handled the fines, the SEC drama has settled, and CME just sent a clear message: XRP is officially in the game. They're launching cash-settled XRP futures, one designed for everyday investors and another for the big whales. Why launch futures now? Because the demand is already there. Money is circling, waiting to jump in before the market blows wide open. You can feel the tension in the charts, that pressure building up from years of locked-up value, and the true potential XRP was built to unlock. When this breaks, we're not just talking about a small bump. This could be the first real institutional-level price discovery XRP has ever seen. XRP was never about hype, it's always been about practical use. With CME backing it, the heart of global finance is essentially saying, we're taking that risk. Experts are predicting that XRP could hit $5 on May 19th. But here's a question for you. If you've been following XRP for a while, you know dates come and go with little impact. Do you think May 19th will actually move the price? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Will we see a price surge, whether it's a few dollars or more? What's your take? Speaking of futures, I wanted to understand the impact CME had when it launched Bitcoin futures in 2017. Chicago Mercantile Exchange announced the plan in October 2017, with trading starting December 10th. These contracts were cash-settled based on a Bitcoin reference rate, offering institutional investors a regulated way to bet on Bitcoin's price without actually holding the coin. The results were significant. Bitcoin gained legitimacy and mainstream acceptance. It finally earned its seat at the financial table. This kind of validation could do the same for XRP, which would be massive. The CME Bitcoin futures launch marked a milestone, showing Bitcoin's growing acceptance in traditional finance and providing a safe space for big investors to participate. It allowed people to invest in Bitcoin without dealing with the headaches of wallets or private keys, broadening its investor base. Imagine the same thing happening with XRP. Investors can get involved without worrying about scams or the chaos that sometimes plagues crypto. The futures also brought better liquidity and clearer price signals. Futures trading increased liquidity in the Bitcoin market, helping price discovery through aggregated data from major exchanges. A regulated futures market made it easier for big players to manage risk, potentially calming some of Bitcoin's notorious price swings. Plus, this paved the way for more financial